I think we're streaming.
I think we're streaming.
We got levels. I'm showing levels. So
we're showing levels.
you know,
let's hop in the
if you're happening to join us,
YouTube-ish and see.
hit that like, subscribe, follow, share, do all those free fun things for us.
It is quite important.
Yeah, and listen, it doesn't cost you a damn thing, and it really helps us out. So why not do it?
Yeah, I mean, it is free.
Again, trying to get to hit that 100 followers mark on Facebook as well. Because once we do, we start streaming live there as well. So that is the next goal. So let's hit that. And yeah. So how you doing tonight, my friend?
I am well. We are rapidly approaching the date of birth for the daughter. We basically have the entire nursery done. We bought this little sign with her name. That's the last thing. So once that gets delivered, I'll get that hung up, and the nursery will be completed. And then, we are rapidly approaching the due date. So getting excited for that. Approaching the day of hitting the wonderful 40 mark. So yay for that. And
that comes first, though, right?
It depends. Because she's due July 4th. My birthday is June 30th. So I actually think that she's going to be born on my birthday. I think that is what's going to happen. Because I've always been somebody, I mean, you know me long enough. I'm far from a selfish human being. But my birthday is that one day that I'm always like, this day is about me. Screw everybody else. I don't care what anybody else wants to do.
Usually you spend it down the shore doing something like, in the sunshine.
Some type of traveling or something.
Yeah.
So I get the feeling that, you want to make the big man upstairs laugh, tell him something that your game plans and thoughts, and he'll give you a nice laugh. So I think she's going to be born on my birthday, and I'm just going to have to substitute Father's Day, which even that I won't be able to take advantage of until she's a teenager and doesn't want to hang out with me anymore. So it is what it is, but we will survive. We will make it. But overall, doing well, my man. How about yourself?
Doing well. Yeah, just crazy weekend. A lot of stuff done. As you see, getting the driveway paved, getting a lot of different little projects, spring projects done. So.
We actually talked about that. I finalized the quote with Home Depot. So Windows, I got the paperwork sitting in my inbox, so I got to get that signed. That's why I got to leave by 8, because apparently the one promotion they gave me expires at like midnight, and I know I got crap to do when I walk in the door. So and it was like $1,300 off.
From going to work to going to work.
Yeah,
it's different kind of work, but the work never stops.
That's what adulting is. I mean, like they say,
that's why it's much better to be a kid.
Yeah, you don't realize it when you're a kid, but it is much better.
It really is. Like, you struggle. Like, when you're a kid, you're like, man, can't wait till I'm like a teenager, or I can't wait till I'm an adult, or I can't wait till I'm 20. No. Stay young forever, because have no bills. Have the biggest worry in your life be that homework assignment you have due tomorrow. Please hold on to that for as long as you can. Because eventually life is going to kick you in the dick.
And the worst part about the whole thing is, right, like, kids want to get older, right? You want to grow up so you can do the things that you want to do. And what you don't realize is that even as an adult, you don't get to just do the things you want to do.
You don't.
You can do the things you can afford to do.
Or you have time to do.
Or they have time to do, but you can't just wake up on a Tuesday when you're supposed to be at work and say, you know what? I feel like just going down to the beach, hanging out for the day, not having a care in the world. Well, you can do that, but then you might come home and not have a job, and then you never get to do that again.
Consequences.
Yeah.
You don't have as many of those as a kid.
I would love my largest consequence in life to be grounded for a week. Like, tell me I can't leave the house now, and it's like, deal. Right? You're a kid. It's like the worst thing in the world. But as an adult, you're like, wait, I can't leave the house for the next week.
And maybe you've approached this already, but I really feel it since I've hit 40. That I used to go out, and again, this is all pre-show stuff. We're way before 7 o'clock anyway. So if you're listening, hope you're enjoying. But when we used to go out as kids, you're 21, 22, 23, you're pregame until 9, 10 o'clock. You're going out Now, if somebody invites me out past 9 o'clock, I'm like, what do we know? Like, what are we doing? Like, we're be home by 10 the latest. I want to be in bed. I don't know. I don't. At some point, you hit that. So I don't know if it's 40. I don't know what point that is. But like, you stop wanting to close the bar out and start wanting to be that guy, the happy hour crowd more.
Yeah, I occasionally have the nights where the idea of closing a bar out sounds good, but it's to celebrate something, right? Like not just
a wedding.
not just because it's Friday. I'm gonna stay.
Where
stay
when
out
we
till
were
2 o'clock
younger,
in the
it
morning.
was because it's Friday, because it's Thursday, and you just felt like doing
like
it.
now it's like don't get me wrong. Like I won't go out past like 8 o'clock. Like, if you're like, hey, let's go to the bar, grab a bite to eat, have a drink, 8 o'clock's the latest you get me to leave my house. Now, if it's like going by a friend's house, right, and I know it's a low-key night, I know I have control over when I leave, like, I'm not relying on anybody for a ride. All right, maybe I'll leave my house at like 9:30 and come hang out for an hour or two. But like, that's about the line here. Now, you're not getting, that's why I always laugh at all the people I work with. And they're like, Dave, we're going out in Jersey City this weekend. You should come. And I'm like,
that sounds awful.
I would love to hang out with all of you guys, but how about we start at like 6 and at like 9, I'll go home and you guys can have your night out in Jersey City. Like I will have, like I work with some really good people, but like I'm not trying to hit the bar at 10:30. Like that's just not happening. Anymore. I'm the guy walking out of the bar to make room for you at 10:30 at night.
Well, to be honest, though, we've been that crowd though already, so we've been there, we've done that. So now we've graduated to the next crowd. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like so,
and these kids have no idea. They have ride sharing apps. They don't even got to worry about it. I mean, look, I'm not proud of it, but the amount of nights in my 20s where I woke up the next day and had no clue how I got home, and yet my car was sitting in the driveway, wasn't proud of it. Never but like these kids don't even have to think about that stuff. They're just like, oh, I'm Ubering to the bar, I'm Ubering home. Like I'm good to go. We
did not have Uber.
No.
And life would have been much better with Uber back then.
God, would have been.
For a lot of people. So I couldn't agree more. And I hope that the kids nowadays, I hope that the younger generation, they take advantage of those things because honestly, there is no real reason to drink and drive anymore, do stupid stuff like that anymore when you have all these options out there.
That's why we have no remorse for like the athletes that get DWIs. You're like, your team pays for a car
Which, by the way, to get us into our sports topics here, I mean, just me personally, over the entire weekend, I was happy to hear no negative stories for the most part, as far as like people out partying too much, people drinking and driving, people getting around, nothing stupid. You hear good stories coming out of the NFL draft weekend, and that's what I enjoyed hearing because, like, we can get into the Sanders stuff and other stuff later of some other things that happened during the draft, but again, I find some of that stuff comical. But no bad stories, no, like I said, DUIs, no, even remember a bunch of years back, Laramie Tunsil, when he had that picture come out of him with the gas mask. Yeah. We didn't have any of that come out this year, and it was kind of nice. It was refreshing. It was, you heard about the kids more than, and their stories, and you heard a lot of feel-good stories, and
The parents' videos.
I'm glad I didn't hear about more of the negative
I was a big
stuff.
fan of the NFL doing that this year. They had like the parents or like close family members or coaches like do congratulation videos for the kids that got drafted in the first round. I thought that was actually pretty cool. I was a big fan of that one. So
all right, well, let's start there at the draft then. Let's get this show kicked off.
Let's actually get things moving.
Let's get things. We haven't even played the music yet. Nothing. Let's get this show on the road. It's good to be back.
So good to be back.
Back with my friends.
One person's happy about where his team is standing in a playoff series. Another person is unhappy with where his team is standing in a playoff series. But two completely different sports.
And listen, I got to be honest. I got swayed into the draft this year. And I mean, that's where we're going to start this anyway. So, I mean... Oh, after our music finishes anyway. But yeah, that's where we're starting today is with the draft because the draft is something that for years now I've dreaded. I've hated the Giants draft. I've hated it. It's been awful. And for a few years now, they've been getting a little better. Like I did not like the Gettleman years. We've all known this. This is not a new secret. It's not something that's earth-shattering here, but what they're doing now is, though, because last year I was iffy on Neighbors, but I was like, all right, let's give him a shot. Really turned out to be something. Thibodeau has turned out
three different quarterbacks.
Thibodeau has turned out to be pretty decent, and now they come into this year, they get arguably the best overall player, some people consider the best defensive player in the draft. on a lot of people's boards and really solidify that defensive line. Now you add an Abdul Carter to what you already have, like I said, with a young Thibodeau, with Brian Burns, who they went out and traded for last year, with
Sexy
Dexy.
I'll always love that guy. I don't care what jersey he wears.
They have a defensive front now that can get after Jalen Hurts, that can get after Jaden Daniels, that can get after Dak Prescott, that can get after everybody. Like, there's not going to be an offensive line in the league that's really going to be able to game plan. I mean, they're going to have to really work those weeks when they play the Giants D, because that's a formidable front. And last year, the Giants made some strides on defense when it came to corner and safety. And I feel like they're getting better overall. And looking at the draft, them trading back up into the first round to draft Jackson Dart, who I was sitting there when the trade happened. I said, anybody but Dart. And then Fife was chiming in. Shout out to Fife out there. They're taking Dart. I'm telling you, that's what all the noise is. And I'm like, I don't want it. And he was like, well, that's what we're getting. And it's what we got. So, unfortunately, that's what we got. But then as it sat with me all weekend, and as I heard more, and as I listened, and as I dove a little more into him, because even though I follow the SEC, I'm a Bama fan, you know that I follow college football, I didn't see it when I was watching, but again, they sold me on some stuff. Okay. So what they sold me on is kid's got a big arm, had probably the best arm in the draft. They also sold me on, he's a really good locker room guy, good football IQ. Came in prepared. That was the one biggest difference. And I know we're going to get into a lot of the Sanders stuff later, but the interview people talking about the interview between him and Dable and how that did. Now, did you hear about that? No. So apparently they gave Sanders, this is like, we're talking less than a week before the draft. They had another workout, or the week before the draft. I think maybe the Thursday before the first, round. They called him up and they said, listen, we want to have you come in, blah, blah, blah. They gave him a playbook and was like, listen, study this, do that, whatever, come in. Came in completely unprepared. Didn't even read the playbook, anything, like pretty much didn't have the right attitude whatsoever. And it completely turned Dable off. And it, he didn't come in prepared. Who doesn't come in prepared? You're expecting to be, you want a
job
team
interview, yeah.
You want a team to come and draft you in the first round of the NFL draft, which is where he was projected for the longest time, all football season long, and up until 2 weeks ago, probably, projected in the first round in the first 6 picks. And when you come in and you're that unprepared, and then you hear all these other stories coming out about how he really didn't interview well across the board, and you hear about like this, there were certain teams he didn't want to go to, and this, that, and the other. Well, I can tell you one thing. If you wanted to go to the Browns, you should have your head examined to begin with. Because where he got drafted was the 5th round, but that's neither here nor there. Again, we're going to get into him later. But going back to Dart, they sold me on Dart. Between his mobility and pretty much, like, they really sold me on the fact that Dable, he helped develop Jalen Hurts at Bama. He helped develop Tua. He helped, obviously, Josh Allen up in Buffalo. And he really compares this kid a lot to Josh Allen and Josh Allen's abilities with his feet and with his arm. So I've always said I wanted Dable to get a guy with talent. Give him a guy with who could be mobile, and give him a guy who's got an arm, and let's see what he can do. And Daniel Jones was never that guy. Even though they tried to sign him and do whatever, and he had an okay first year, that was because they limited what he did, and we don't have to go down that road. But either way, I wanted Dable to get his guy, and he got his guy. Finally, they made the move. They drafted back up. So you know what? I'm going to go all in on that. And I'm going to say that's good. And then you know what? In the 3rd round, I forget off the top of my head who they picked, but it was their 4th round pick. Another kid that was on the board that I heard a lot about, but I didn't know much about, but I love it. I love this pick of Cam Scatterbo.
Oh, the running back.
Running back out of Arizona State. He led them to college football playoffs this year. He is the epitome of what I think about, like, with a try hard guy. And at running back, you to have a try hard, like that's what I want. I want a guy who's not going to give up. I want a guy who's going to power. He doesn't have the greatest speed in the world. Like I think he runs like a 4.4 or something. Like he's fast, but not. He's not going to be.
He's not a 4.2.
Exactly.
Blow your mind.
He's
guy.
not the biggest guy in the world, but he's just all heart, man, and I love it. I love it. Give me a player like that all day long to pair him with Tracy. He's a kid who rushed for over 1,500 yards. And receive over 500 yards. I think he's one of the first running backs to do that since I can't remember the other guy's name. But either way,
Did you hear the story too that when he was growing up, he was breaking his pads by running into trees?
Yeah.
Because he wanted to
He's insane.
He wanted to toughen up.
Where's my phone? Because there was actually something I saw about that it was like they just drafted a bunch of nutcases this year.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I love it.
I saw that too. They drafted a whole bunch. What up, Carl? Joining us in the YouTube chat, my man. Talking Giants draft reactions right now with Eric. He got sold on Dart over the weekend. Wasn't thrilled Thursday about it, but feels pretty good about it now. Hoping that could turn into the Giants version of Josh Allen with combining him with Dable. But
either way, they drafted a bunch of nutcases, and I love it. I love what they did in the draft. And I'm interested to see because, to be honest, Dart should sit for a year. Dart should sit behind Russell Wilson, learn from him, learn from Winston, pick what he could pick, do what he could do. And listen, by the end of the year, if he's backing up Russell Wilson, great. Like if he's dressing as the number 2 guy, great. But I don't need to see him start next year. It's okay. Put him on the shelf, let him learn, and then give him the experience because next year is when we're really going to need him. This year Russ can get us by this year.
You need that, but you also are going to need the organization at the top to stay patient if that's the game plan. Because if Dable got his guy and they have another 5-win season and they let him go and don't even give him a chance to have his guy start, then how much value is in that pick?
But that's why I don't think he's gone. I think Dable's there for this year and next year.
But that's
I think
what
they
I'm saying.
have to give him that.
If that's the Giants' thought process, then it makes a little bit more sense. One thing I will say for him, and I do agree, this should basically just be a red shirt year for him. One thing that's going to really benefit him with having, Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston be in front is that he's going to have 2 guys that got into the league 2 completely different ways and 2 guys that had completely different experiences, right? Jameis Winston, top 10 draft pick, never even came close to what people thought he could be when he came into the league. Russell Wilson, 4th-round draft pick, developmental project, Super Bowl winner. Made it to 2 Super Bowls, 1-1 in the Super Bowl. So both guys are going to be able to give him perspectives on how to approach their career, or how to approach his career, I should say, and put him in a position where he's going to have a lot of insight and knowledge shared with him that not many rookie quarterbacks get access to.
And he's going to have some weapons.
Yeah.
And he's going to have neighbors. He's going to have some weapons. So it's not like this kid's going to come in and have nobody to throw to. So I like what they did here. I like the draft overall.
Once Carter fell to them, if they took anybody but him, if I was a Giants fan, I would just shut the TV off.
Yeah, everybody would have. It wouldn't have mattered.
He is the clear-cut best pure defender in the league. The reason Hunter is even considered above him is simply due to his dual threat ability and the fact that he was arguably the best corner or second best corner in the entire draft and one of the top 2 or 3 wide receivers in the entire draft. That's the only thing that separates him. If Hunter was strictly corner, I honestly think that Carter would have been put higher than him in the overall rankings. So that's my opinion.
And let's go there next because Travis Hunter goes number 2 overall. I don't think anybody's shocked by that. He had a lot of talent, 2-way player, ton of heart. But do you really see Jacksonville using him both ways? And that's where I go with that because I don't think you can start him both ways. The last person to start at least 8 games in a season both ways. Who was Dave? Come on. Started on offense and defense.
For the
8
Patriots.
games. No.
Oh.
Last guy to do it.
I don't know. I was thinking, was it Troy Brown?
Come on. He play his son's playing with Hunter.
His son's playing with Hunter. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank here, pal.
It's a Cowboy.
And how's he playing with Hunter?
His son was playing with Hunter this year.
Oh. And he got drafted by the Cowboys.
No. The guy who's the last
Just say who did it.
Deion Sanders.
Oh.
Come on. The last guy to start both ways.
Deion started 8 games on offense?
8 games on offense, 8 games on defense in 96.
Oh, man. Dallas was really struggling at wide receiver that year. Because Deion was a deep threat. That's really all they used him for.
I'm just telling you, the last guy to start 8 games on both sides of the ball, to start 8 on offense, 8 on defense for 8 games in a row, was Deion. I don't think Travis Hunter does that this year.
No, I don't think he does that either, and I don't think he should do that. I think that
So where are you playing him? What are you doing?
I'm playing him at wide receiver. I think you play him at wide receiver because defensive back, like, it's just one of those positions where you just basically need to know where you need to be if you're playing zone defense, and you need to know who you need to stay with if you're playing man. But
I think the other way, I think he should learn defense first, be a corner, because you could come in and run routes at any time, in my opinion. Like, you could come in and I feel like you could transition more on offense, come in as a third down threat, maybe a red zone threat, something of that nature, have some packages designed for him. For when he comes in the game, because he can be dynamic, but have him learn that defensive side of the ball, because again, different coverages, different things. Like, I would want to maybe have him learn those disciplines first, but that's just me. That's kind of the way I'm leaning.
I just feel like the offensive playbook is harder to learn than the defensive playbook. So that's...
Well, shout out if Tim or Carl are in the chat. I'd love to hear their opinion on it, of which they think is easier or harder to learn, the offensive or defensive side of the ball. But yeah, either way, do you think he's got Rookie of the Year potential for Jacksonville? Do you think that he makes Jacksonville better? Does he upgrade Trevor Lawrence? Does he upgrade that defense?
I mean, I think he has the opportunity to be one of the front runners at this point for offensive Rookie of the Year or defensive Rookie of the Year. But I think your offensive Rookie of the Year is in Las Vegas. I think he's going to be your offensive Rookie of the Year.
Genty?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think they're just going to hand him the ball. I mean, what else?
I mean,
what else do they have?
They needed a bat. No, they have Brock Bowers. They have last year.
What I'm saying. Like, when your tight end is arguably your best offensive weapon, you need a good run game for that play action and all that. Like, your tight end isn't beating people with speed. You need to beat him with scheme, and I mean, he beats him with talent.
Oh no, this is a great pick for the Raiders, and it's just a matter of can that offensive line hold up in front of him, so that he can get positive yards, so that he can do those things that we saw him do in college. But again, like I said, in college, he didn't go up against a lot of big talent. And when he did in the playoffs, he didn't show up against Penn State. So I worry a little bit about that. But again, I think it comes down to more of the Raiders' offensive line. Can they block in front of him? If so, he could be a game changer. So I like that pick for the Raiders. And yeah, I mean, looking at Will Campbell, we talked about him. He was going to go high.
Oh, was it your cut?
He got exactly. Yeah, my cousin Mike. Shout out to Mike and the Jets.
On with what he was trying to get.
Spot on, and he nailed his guy Membo.
Didn't he get the
Missouri
second round pick right too?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think he nailed the first 2 picks for the Jets.
Let's actually take a look at that real quick. But yeah, no, I mean he got exactly what he wanted, and yeah. So I mean, listen, they needed offensive line help. They needed, I don't know what the heck that is.
You clicked an ad.
Technology.
Yeah, no, the Jets went with what we thought they were going to go with, and that was trying to win the line of scrimmage. That was how they approached it. That's how they handled it, right? I mean, getting that offensive lineman is huge, and somebody that, could be quite reliable for a long time to come.
You know, another pick I love for them, and again, you can call me a homer, but I'm telling you, this guy is going to be good on the next level. Malachi Moore out of Alabama. Safety out of Alabama. He is going to be good for the Jets. He's going to be a starter. I guarantee it. But if not this year, by next year, he's a starter for the New York Jets at safety.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was a big fan of their first pick. I mean, tight end is an area of need for them. I think I would have probably went differently, um, based off of what I do know about the guys that were still on the board. But when it's all said and done, I think that offensive lineman, it could be a piece for them. And that's the thing, right? When you take a good offensive lineman, I mean, you're basically talking the next 15 years, you got that guy playing for you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, nailing an offensive line pick in the first round, like you covered yourself for, a decade and a half with no problem at all. So, I think that's a huge key.
I agree.
Louis agrees as well.
Louis agrees.
To the show, Louis. Welcome to the show. Good boy. Yes, you're
I mean, there wasn't a ton else in the first round that was like.
I mean, the
crazy.
Cowboys pick I wasn't a huge fan of. I would have preferred to see a trade back. I also really like Jalen Walker, like I mentioned. But once McMillan went to Carolina at 8, I had literally no clue what Dallas was going to do.
And by the way, we talked about it. What that is such a Carolina pick.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you've got so many holes on your team, and rather than anchoring your line and getting Bryce Young some help, or rather than, doing something, you go out and you get another wide receiver. Didn't they get Xavier Leggett in the first round last year? And you're just drafting these guys hoping that something clicks, but it doesn't work like that.
No.
Life doesn't work like that. Like, this is why certain teams are the way they are and just can't get out. They can't get out of their own way. And to me, this is a pick where they just can't get out of their own way. I don't think this makes Carolina better in any way, shape, or form. He may be a good receiver. He may be really good, but it's not going to matter to that Carolina Panthers team.
His likeliness of being really good with Carolina is just as likely as Carolina trading him in 2 years.
Yeah,
like that's really it's that straightforward.
He could only hope. To be traded in 2 years.
Now, what I will say, look, the Booker, it wasn't flashy. A lot of people were saying they took him maybe a little earlier than he should have went. But when I found out that one of his answers, like why he loves to play football, his answer was, my favorite part of playing football is playing other people that love football and taking the love of football away from them. And like, what else do you want to hear from an offensive guard? Right? Like that's literally what you want to hear is the guy that just, when he gets out there, his number one goal is to make sure that the guy across from him no longer wants to come at him. Like, so I do like that. I like the 2 running backs they took to give themselves some depth, along with the 2 veterans that they signed. There's rumors that they might even go try and get Chubb so that they have a deep running back room and basically see who the hell wins the starting job. If they go running back by committee again, I'm going to lose my shit, because that is literally the stupidest. Like, running backs get a rhythm and a feel for the game. You cannot just alternate running backs this isn't video games, right? Like in Madden, when I got 2 good running backs, I alternate them almost every formation to keep them fresh and they can stay as fast as they want. But in real life, that would be like one of the worst freaking strategies to do with a running back, because they get a feel for the game. Supposedly, the corner they took in the 3rd round was a guy that a lot of people were pretty high on. I know PFF had him as like the 44th guy on the overall board, and Dallas got him in like the 50s or something like that. Or no, they got him in the 3rd round. So like he was apparently ranked pretty high. And Dallas managed to get him in the 3rd round.
He fell
In the 3rd round. The edge from Boston College led the NCAA in sacks last year. But that was his first year ever with double-digit sacks. So, like, was that a one-hit wonder thing, or is he starting to find his feel for being a defensive end? But they had to fill that spot left by DeMarcus Lawrence. They had the opportunity to go more of a draft by need and filling openings with the best players they felt were available, with the fact that they did something in free agency. But the fact they didn't come out of this draft with a wide receiver. I think there's also talks that they might try to bring Amari Cooper back, which I think I'd rather Keenan Allen than Amari Cooper. But those are probably your 2 biggest name wide receivers.
Keenan Allen's always hurt, though.
I know, but I think he's like, after what I saw with Amari Cooper in Cleveland the last 2 years, like I don't really.
But again, who's throwing him the ball in Cleveland?
I know, but he had some drops. I mean, even in week 1 this past year against
Cleveland
Dallas,
could make anybody look like a pile of crap.
This is true. It is Cleveland.
It is the Brown Town.
Outside the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? That's in Cleveland. Yeah, that's really the best thing.
True.
And I guess LeBron James, just out of respect, I'll say the best things that came out of Cleveland. LaFlop. But we'll get to that. But it's been so much fun watching what Minnesota's been doing to them.
All right, so let's keep the draft moving here. But I kind of like what Dallas did. I'm not opposed to that.
I've seen grades range for them from A+ to B-.
So
I've seen the Giants stay between A+ and A-. I haven't seen a single person give the Giants below an A-.
No, a lot of it they've been getting high scores for the draft. Yeah. We just gotta hope that a lot of people say they won the draft. I don't care about winning the draft. I don't care about winning in April. I care about winning in January. Let's get there. That's what I say. But one of the picks that surprised me in the top 10 is what the Saints did. Because the Saints went offensive tackle out of Texas, Kelvin Banks. But a lot of people here were thinking quarterback. A lot of people were thinking some kind of weapon. Like, I wasn't thinking offensive lineman for them. I don't know. I found it an interesting pick. But again, if you're going to build your team, I think the best way to build it's from the inside out.
Well, a lot of people are saying this is Kellen Moore bringing what he learned in Philly to New Orleans.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people are saying, is that this pick is a sign that Kellen Moore walked in their offices and said, I saw what needs to be done to win a Super Bowl. If we can't win the line of scrimmage, we can't win games. Which, in the reality of football, like, offensive linemen are probably the least recognized guys in the entire league. Yet all your fantasy teams, your quarterbacks, your running backs, your wide receivers, your tight ends, none of them would mean anything if the offensive line can't do their job.
Exactly.
So, it's not the glorified position, but it's arguably the most important on the offensive side of the ball.
No, but the shocker for the Saints, though, wasn't really even the first round pick. The shocker was the second round pick, as they went with quarterback out of Louisville. Nobody picked this. Nobody had this guy as, like, I think even a top 4 or 5, because they all had him behind Will Howard. They had him behind
Shooter. They had
Sanders. They had him behind Cam. They had him behind Dart. They had him behind. There's one more I'm forgetting about. Dillon, out of Oregon too. So I mean, the fact that he went 40th overall ahead of everybody but Dart and Cam Ward was a shocker, and he wasn't anybody that really lit it up. So, I mean, he must have shown Kellen Moore something, because that, to me, was one of the most interesting picks of the whole draft. Like, I didn't understand it. Like, I understand wanting your guy, but this must have really been your guy.
Yeah. I think, honestly, like, when I heard his name, I'm like, who? Like, I mean,
just reading about him, he started it.
Frame, so.
He started his career behind Herbert in Oregon. That's how long he's been in college. 3 seasons at Texas Tech. His best was 2024 and at Louisville. But yeah, he just, I guess, has a prototypical frame from what they're saying, but I just don't see it. Like, so they're really putting, I guess, a lot of stock in this kid, because again, second round pick, like, you're expecting him to be something.
And what happened?
40th overall is not even late.
What happened with Carr again?
He was hurt most of last year.
Yeah, and I think they're still worried that it was his shoulder too. I think they still are worried that he might not be able to start in week 1.
Yeah, I don't know if you're starting this kid though.
Derek Carr, that he is dealing with a shoulder issue. Yeah, so Carr's still dealing with his shoulder. So, I mean, you don't even know if or when he's playing.
But Tyler Slow, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but either way, that one was the shocker. So I'm interested to see what Kellen Moore can do with him. But yeah, that to me, I mean, did anything first couple of rounds really shock you? Because that to me was the biggest one where that was a head scratcher, where I was like, they must know something that the rest of us don't know.
I mean, honestly, I think that, like I said, the Cowboys got me a little surprised with the interior offensive lineman at 12, but I'm not mad about it. I think they had other needs they could have filled, or would have been better trading back. I would have really liked to seen them get Williams, or not Williams, McMillan that Carolina took. I would have liked to seen them take Walker from Georgia, who went to Atlanta. I would have liked to seen them take Golden, the wide receiver, I think, out of Ohio State.
Which, by the way, did you see that for the draft? Like him, like come out and like, well, because he was Green Bay's pick, right? Green Bay took him, Golden.
Yeah.
And the first wide receiver to be drafted by Green Bay in 23 years, I think, or 22 years. I think it was 2002 or 2003 was the last time.
In the first round.
Yeah, in the first round. So that was a big pick. He seemed excited to go there. And to be honest, I mean, they got a lot of good young talent there too. They got Reed, they got Watson, they got guys.
They got Dobbs as well.
Yeah, they got all sorts of weapons. So I'm interested to see where Golden fits in, and can he become a wide receiver one there, or who's going to step up? But either way, it's just giving Jordan Love and the Packers, who just continue to be good year after year, more weapons.
They just need to get more consistency out of Love. He's one of the most up and down quarterbacks in the league. I've had him in fantasy the last 2 years, and like 1 week he's 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks, great game, and then another week he's 112 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, a lost fumble. Like he's very up and down. I mean, I do still think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I just think he needs to piece it together for a full season, and you could see some really impressive things.
What's he, 3 years in so far though? Like
3 years playing.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
He's been in the league for 4 because he sat on the bench his first year. So
let's go, Jackson Dart. Do the same thing.
No, I'm good, man. He could just be another disappointment for you.
Let's not be. But either way, like rest of the first round kind of went as is. So, but by the way, shout out to Julie Jules, who that's her team, the Saints. She's still out there listening somewhere. But yeah, going on to the rest of these teams. I mean, nobody cares what Arizona did. Their pick did. Does it matter? Is it going to move the needle? No. The Bengals, again, adding something on the defensive side of the ball to me is smart, because
and they're still trying to trade what's his name?
Still trying to trade Higgins, but again, still you have offensive weapons, you have talent on the offensive side of the ball. Start churning up that defense. Start being able, especially when you have the quarterbacks that you have there in that division. When you have Lamar Jackson,
the only team with a quarterback you're not worried about right now is Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh's still going to be good just because Mike Tomlin coaches them.
And so you need guys to get after him. So I love that, again, if that's the way the NFL is going to go, then that's the way defenses have to go. You got to find guys to get after the quarterback. So I kind of like that pick for the Bengals. Seahawks, it doesn't move the needle. No, it doesn't really. I mean, maybe he's a good guard, maybe whatever. But again, they have so much turnover there. Their quarterback room is crazy. This year too, isn't it? Like, who do they have? They have Darnold. Then they have
in Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle. Didn't they sign Darnold?
Yeah, they took Darnold and then traded Geno.
Yeah. So I mean, like,
I don't know who else is in their quarterback room, but like. I mean, the one, like, just looking at what we have up on the screen, I mean, Igbuka from Ohio State going to Tampa Bay to put him with an aging Mike Evans, who's still a monster.
Smart.
Then you got...
Smart move by Tampa. Shout out to my nephew, William, Tampa Bay fan.
There you go. Shout out, William. But, like, you put him with, like, so Evans, then they re-signed Godwin. They were using the ex-Giants wide receiver as their number 3 for a little bit. Shepard? No.
Yeah.
Sterling Shepard? Yeah, Sterling Shepard. So now all of a sudden you can move him into the 3 or Shepard to the 3 and him at the 4. Like, you're giving more weapons. And I think Bucky Irvin basically took the starting job away this past season.
He did.
So you're getting younger. Mayfield's only 30 years old. So, like, at the quarterback position, that's, at least 4 or 5 more years with him. Evans, you probably got 1 or 2 more years with him before his salary outweighs his age, and they'll move on from him. And if this guy turns into a new starter, you slide him right into that, and you still got a solid number 1. So
you got to
really kind of like that. Washington, sure enough, getting another offensive lineman to help protect Daniels. Detroit sticking with Owen.
I was a little surprised with Pittsburgh here, and because they had an opportunity before the Giants traded back into the first round to get Dart. They could have went Dart. They could have went Sanders. They could have went anywhere with a quarterback, and that's a need for them. But the fact that they passed on all the quarterbacks, to me, says something, because they're a pretty good franchise. Like they usually draft well. They usually, they're pretty good about what they do. And if they're passing on all of them, and to me, it says something. And if they're still out there looking at Aaron Rodgers instead of what this draft class could offer, to me, it says something. So I look at that pick, and they took a D tackle out of Oregon, and I'm like, well, great. Their defense just got another defensive guy. Like, I'm sure he's going to do well. Like, the defense is going to be
sign him up for at least 2 Pro Bowls on his rookie contract.
They're going to be great. The Pittsburgh defense. That's what they are. They're a good defensive team. They run the ball well. That's what that is Pittsburgh. So, but the fact that they didn't go quarterback to me was a bit surprising.
In a quarterback-driven league, yeah, it is. But I mean, I still think it's basically a safe bet year in, year out to predict that they're 500 or better. And I think that they believe no matter who they have at quarterback, they could be 500 or better. So we'll see. But I don't like if Mason Rudolph's your starting quarterback for 17 games. I just don't see how you're winning 9 of those. Or 8, going 8-8-1. I don't see how. I mean, that defense would have to play lights out. That run game and special teams would have to play huge. But why trade for DK Metcalf? And I don't know. You got Pickens and Metcalf, and you basically have nobody throwing the ball. So I don't.
It's a weird spot, but that to me says something about the quarterbacks that they would pass on all of them. But then to me, I mean, I look at the next pick after that, and Omari Hampton, running back out of North Carolina. He's going to get used and abused. Like, he's just signing up to get, for Harbaugh's used and abused camp for 3 or 4 years, and you're never going to hear from him again. Like, he's going to run this kid into the ground, and
with no hesitation.
So this kid better really try to make all the money he can in his first deal, because there may not be much after that.
Take advantage of that Los Angeles market, Hampton. Right? Take advantage of it. You're going to need it, bud.
Right? I mean, it's sunny San Diego. Do what you got to do, but you're gonna pay the price to live there. I guarantee that under Harbaugh's offense. Shout out to my father-in-law, big Green Bay fan. So I'm actually pumped for him to get Golden. I'm just stating again. I know we already talked about it, but yeah, I think it's exciting for him. So good for him. Donovan Jackson, to me, doesn't really move the needle for Minnesota. Minnesota's going to be one of these weird teams. Darnold had a great year last year, moves on. Are they going to be the same team with J.J. Watt this year? I have no freaking idea. I have no idea. Or not J.J. McCarthy. J.J. Watt's
coming out of retirement.
He might be better. He might be better than J.J. McCarthy. But no idea what to expect out of J.J. McCarthy this year, who's coming back off of injury. So to me, that's a little worse because he was almost forced to sit. He was hurt. Yeah. He didn't sit because the team wanted him to sit. He sat because he had to sit.
Run second team.
Was he sitting there learning? Was he? You would hope so. But to me, I'm just not sure if Minnesota can repeat the magic they had last year. And to me, this one just doesn't really move the needle much. And then we get to what I think was the I don't know. Would you consider the Jackson Dart trade the biggest trade of the first round, or would you consider the Travis Hunter trade the biggest trade of the first round? And I like that the Giants didn't have to give up a first-round pick back. They just gave up some seconds and some other stuff. So.
I would say the Giants because they made that move saying, hey, we believe this is going to be our guy. Right? Hunter, there's really no real question marks about him other than what side of the ball are you going to play him on full-time. But nobody doubts his football abilities and the fact that he's just a football player. And as long as the coach puts him in positions to be successful, no matter what side of the ball it is, he's going to be successful. Where I think when you look at the Giants trading up, I think that's telling the league, hey, we believe that this guy is our guy, and we wanted to make sure we got him. We weren't going to sit and wait and hope that he fell to us, even though every team behind where they traded up has their quarterback. I that's the only thing that raises question marks to me. Again, I don't think the Giants needed to trade up to get him, but that's probably why I would answer that the Giants trade is bigger.
All right.
Oh, I mean, but also the Eagles swapping picks with Kansas City to move up and get Campbell after they just lost their pass rusher to retirement in Graham, and now they're just adding another one with no problem. It's just whatever the Eagles do, they just on paper it always looks pretty damn good, And 2 out of the last 3 years,
And again, they're drafting.
It's worked out well.
And they're getting guys out of Bama. They're getting guys out of Georgia. They're getting SEC guys. If you notice, like they're getting guys who play meaningful games.
I hate the effing Eagles.
But again, I do too. But I hate them even more when they get players like this because they're good. They're going to be good. It's like when they took Saquon from the Giants. They were going to be good. They were going to be better than they were. And I knew that. And it sucked because I sat here and I knew it. And I said, please just don't let this be the piece that gives them the champ. And it was. So then you look at it and like you said, they lose one of their better power stars. Guess what? They're going to gain one right back because this kid's going to come in. He's going to be really good. Howie Roseman?
Roseman, yeah.
What he is doing with the Eagles, the way he's able to manipulate the salary cap to be able to pay guys and keep them, to be able to put teams like this together with so much good talent, it's tough as a Giants fan to talk about. So all I gotta hope for is that Shane and Dable got their plans together and they're coming back with a vengeance. But what Roseman's doing right now is ridiculous.
I would never actually take the life of another human being. But I may consider it if you told me if I took Jerry out that Howie Roseman would take over running the operations for Dallas. I may highly consider it. So
listen, his track record is there. It's
just not right. But I mean, look, when it's all said and done, we can talk about first round picks all day. Right, we can talk about the second round picks.
We don't really need to.
When it's all said and done, the headlines of this draft were dominated by one person and one person only.
I think you're right. We got to get into that.
And when you think about it,
I was gonna say it's my.
I have a feeling I know what's coming. Just do it.
Knuckleheaded news of the week.
I figured it was either that or stop and get some help, but that was number one on my guest list. But you look at it, the kid was projected as the second quarterback off the board. Nobody had him outside of the top 6. And then all of a sudden, leading up to the draft, you hear rumors that he's falling. And then he's falling. Well, he's going to the draft. Oh, he's going to be there towards the end. He's falling. But nobody really sat here and was like, well, he's going to fall out of the first round. And anybody that even said it pictured him as the Giants' pick in the second round if he fell
or early second round pick by somebody,
right? So like nobody had him, let's say, out of the top 40 draft picks, right? Then it gets to day 2 and then day 3. I believe day 3 was round 5.
Yeah.
And he's not taking. The Browns already took a quarterback, by the way.
Dylan, right?
In the 4th round, I think.
Yeah.
So the Browns already take a quarterback. And then they trade up in the 5th round so that they can draft Shedeur Sanders.
Which, I mean, totally a Browns move to do.
I mean, it is 100% a Browns move to do. It's also one of those things where you touched on it during our pre-show that's only for our YouTube viewers. That, you have a guy who you start hearing the rumors flying around that he did not interview well. He came in with a cocky, conceited attitude, basically, of like, yes, you need me more than I need you.
You said didn't study the playbook whatsoever that Dable had given him to go over, like, didn't come into the meeting prepared whatsoever and didn't give a shit that he didn't come in prepared.
And when I saw it perfectly said earlier today, because I've gone back and forth on how I felt about this. Like, is this kid being punished because of his dad? Is this more to do with people's opinions of black running quarterbacks? Like what? Like I spinned all around on this one on how I really felt about it. And I saw somebody post this earlier today, and I thought it summed things up perfectly with Shedeur Sanders. When a player thinks he's better than the league, when a player thinks he is bigger than the league will be sure to remind that player that nobody is bigger than the league. And I thought that was a really good way to look at this, because when it's all said and done, this was 32 teams that passed on him for 4 full rounds, which means 128 chances to be drafted.
You went 144.
I proved my point, right? 128 chances plus to be drafted. and nobody took you. Every single team had at least 2 picks over those 4+ rounds, and not a single one of those teams took you. If you look at the teams that everybody knew needed to take a quarterback, all of them had at least 4 picks, and you were still not drafted. At some point, it's a look in the mirror thing. Now, do I think certain teams and general managers have a biased thought or opinion towards black quarterbacks? Yes. Do I think some of these guys maybe don't like Dion from God knows how many years ago, and maybe they played against him or they coached against him? Yes. But for 32 teams to do it 4 times in a row, at some point you also have to look in the mirror. It's not a one-sided thing to me. I don't think it's all Shedeur Sanders' fault. But I also don't think you can put all the blame on general managers and coaches and owners as well.
I'm gonna die in this hill. I'll put it all on Sanders and his dad, because to me, when you see it when he was working out with Cam Ward, they have the video of it, and he's sitting there going, he says to Cam Ward, "Hey, why don't me and you go cut a rap video after this?" And he's like, "Because I play football. Like, I'm here to play football." And he's come on, let's make some music. It's not his number one priority. And he made that clear. And then when, like you said, he comes in and he tries to be bigger than life, and he tries to be bigger than the team, and tries to dictate where he was going, how he was going, this, that, and the other. Enough teams probably, it wasn't collusion. I don't want to hear collusion. I don't want to hear anything about that. He did it to himself, and his dad did it to him, because, again, when his dad was saying, "Oh, no, we're going to have a say in where he goes, and we're going to do this and that," again, maybe some teams were upset with Dion, whatever. You can get over that, but to me, he LeVar Balled his son. Like,
that was
that's the biggest
comparison I could think of too.
It's just not right to do that. And like, I hope this kid gets a piece of humble pie. Like, he may end up being a good quarterback in the league. Who knows? But right now, I mean, like, you look at it, like, he couldn't show any progressions. He couldn't do anything as a quarterback. Like, he literally, like, he's checked down this, checked down that. Like, Travis Hunter's open over here. Like, that's about his offense. Like, he didn't run much in Colorado, and I think he got exposed. And when you put the attitude with the questionable measurables, it to me was like, he did it to himself. Like, I don't blame GMs or teams for wanting to stay away from him. Who would want to bring that in there? You hear about it, he's throwing parties for himself after getting drafted by the Browns. Spent, stupid amount of money to make a draft room in his house.
I saw he had like a box with like $10,000 in cash.
He had every hat on the wall of every team. Just the showmanship. I don't want to be there for it. It shouldn't be about what rap videos you're making next. It should be about, like Cam Ward said, we're here for a job interview right now. Like, we're here working out for these teams, these cameras, and you want to talk to me about anything but football. Like, to me, it just shows me where your head's at. And if you're going to show the teams that, and you're going to do that behind closed doors, and you're not going to show up prepared. The one thing that you could say probably about Dion back in the day, Dion showed up prepared. Dion played both sides of the ball. He had to understand the offensive side of the playbook and the defensive side of the playbook. He had to do a lot more. He played baseball, too. He did a lot. His son hasn't done shit.
He got his jersey retired. He's getting his jersey retired.
He's getting the Bronny James treatment. And to me, that's what he deserves, is the Bronny James treatment of, you're not as special as you think you are, and you need to make a name for yourself, because you can only live off of daddies for so long. Everybody's got to learn to stand on their own 2 feet.
I think the only thing you got to be careful with is the whole trying to dictate where he went. Because, I can name a 2-time Super Bowl winning, 2-time Super Bowl MVP quarterback that did the same damn thing. So you got to be careful with that one. Now, Eli Manning was not running around flashing cash and making hip-hop videos, which I kind of wish he was making hip-hop videos, because that would have been amazing. But there's been a lot of players that have tried to dictate where they go. So you got to be careful with the dictate where you go as an excuse. Everything else is not that you said is correct. But
I mean, Chris Carter thinks he cost himself $30 to $50 million by acting the way he did.
He probably did.
And I mean, you look at it, other people like reports coming out from Colin Cowherd, all these other people, Stephen A. Smith saying when people went back at him, when Dable went back at him for like not knowing the playbook and stuff, he got defensive and he went back at Dable. No, you don't do that. You showed up unprepared for the meeting.
Yeah.
And then you want to get upset when teams don't want to draft you. Well, guess what? As a fan, I don't want to root for you. If you can't even learn to have the decency to look at the playbook before you come in for the meeting, I'm sorry. I got no room for you on my roster.
I won't argue with that. I really won't. I think it's one of those things that to me, it's just a matter of now you've been put behind, right? Like, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to earn the starting job in Cleveland, or are you going to sit back and just kind of take your money and tell yourself, well, I've got other avenues. I'll be fine. Like I'll do something other than play football. Like that to me is the one I'm kind of curious to know. Like how is he thinking? Because like what's crazy is like you look at like their quarterback room: Deshaun Watson, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders. They've got 5 quarterbacks currently on their roster right now, and I honestly think the oldest one is going to be your starter in Week 1.
Probably.
I think Flacco's shown you more over the last 3 years than Deshaun Watson's been able to. He's shown you more than what Kenny Pickett's shown you over the last 2-3 years. And then you got 2 rookie quarterbacks. So I think your starting quarterback is Joe Flacco. Like I genuinely think that is who your starting quarterback. Also, Deshaun Watson still dealing with the foot injury, right? So yeah, I think Joe Flacco ends after all of this.
But again, I don't even think they carry 5 because you're not going to dress 3. You're probably only going to dress 2, right?
Every team technically dresses 3 now, but the third quarterback doesn't count against your game day roster.
Yeah. So but
you always
again,
dress 3. But
there's still 2 extra. You're not holding 2 on the practice squad.
No, two. At least 2 of those guys. At least one of those guys is practice squad, which my guess is going to be Dylan.
Yep.
He's going to be your practice development guy.
We'll see if Sanders makes the cut.
Well, that's it. Sanders is going to have to earn that third spot because Watson, they're paying too much money. So
he's staying.
You can't. And
like you've already pointed out, Flacco's probably starting. So if he wants the 3rd spot, he's got to beat out Dylan and he's got to beat out Pickett.
Yeah.
I don't think he's doing it.
No. I mean, Pickett maybe. I don't know. But yeah, this is nowhere near the unfolding that I think he dreamed of just a month ago. That it turned into be. So now it's put up or shut up. Basically, that's really what it boils down to. And if you can't put up,
and again, for people that want to feel bad for him, right? Quinn Ewers, perfect recruit, like as far as metrics wise, learned under Steve Sarkisian, made 2 college football playoffs, went undrafted. Will Howard, the reigning national champion QB, threw for over 4,000 yards, 73% completion percentage last year, undrafted. Kyle McCord led the nation in passing at 4,700 yards last year, undrafted. Dylan Gabriel threw for 1,800 yards in college, got drafted 94th.
He threw
Don't
for
tell
only
me
1,800 yards in college.
Or 18,000 yards.
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
No. He threw for 18,000 yards.
Wait.
But I'm just saying, like, and he got drafted 94th. So Sanders went 144th, 50 picks later. But don't tell me that there's a cabal out there to keep Sanders out of the league. No, it's his attitude and his effort. He showed piss poor attitude and piss poor effort in preparing himself for the draft. And preparing himself, like you said, it's a job interview. I don't care what job you go for. If you show up and say, I don't give a shit what you have to say, I'm going to do it my way anyway, guess what? I'm not getting that job.
No. And if you are, you have a job that will not last very long because that company's probably going down the shitter.
And if you do, it's because your dad probably owns the company like he did when his dad was coach at Colorado. It's the reason he was at Colorado. It's the reason he was at Jackson State. It's the reason he got where he got to be is because of his dad. And again, no shaming that. But at some point, you've got to stand on your own feet. You've got to do it yourself. And at least that's what what I think we're gonna learn to appreciate about Arch Manning next year is he's gonna make a name for himself. He's gonna come into this draft, and wherever he gets drafted, he's gonna make a name for himself.
Yeah, the way too early mock draft has him going to New Orleans.
Yeah.
Number 1 overall.
And it very well could be. He's probably going to be number 1 overall. But it's a totally different thing than what we're seeing with Sanders. You're not seeing the Mannings come out and saying, we're dictating everything. You're not seeing them come out and, do these crazy things and having his jersey retired to Texas and doing all this stupid nonsense. It's all a big distraction. And guess what NFL teams don't want is a headache and a distraction. They don't want a locker room guy who's going to cause a rift. And he caused a rift at Colorado, apparently.
Especially at the quarterback position.
Like, none of the players there liked him, apparently. Like, none of them, they barely tolerated him. None of them went to, he threw a birthday party. None of the players went. He's apparently not very well liked there at Colorado, but it's because of the way he treated people and his attitude. And again, if you did that in college and all those stories get out, and then you do that in the interview process in the pros, it's not going to bode well.
Look, all I'll say is this. Did he deserve to fall?
Yes.
Did he deserve to fall to the 5th?
Yes.
I don't agree with. He's better than a 5th
When you
round
look
talent.
at the other quarterbacks that were undrafted,
He's still better than
he
a
deserves to be where he is.
He's still better than a 5th round talent.
Is he?
What I will say, though, that he did not deserve in any form
He went to quarterback hell. He went to quarterback purgatory,
I know,
where no
but
quarterback has ever developed or come out of there
One thing he did not deserve, though, was that prank call.
No, and we can get into this.
That was messed up.
So, because this is part 2 to this. I don't have a problem with the prank call, and I don't have a problem with it for one reason.
Why did we just have balloons going up on the screen?
I don't know, but we're celebrating here. Apparently, we're
Woo!
Anyway.
Shout out to our podcast listeners. I have no idea what the hell's going on.
But I don't have a problem with it because if you think he's the first person on draft night to get prank called, you're crazy. He's not. He's not the first person. He's not going to be the last person. It is what it is. So I don't have a problem with it because if he was a good guy, if he was a decent human, if he was somebody you were rooting for.
You have no idea of what kind of person he is. You just know how he interviewed for the NFL.
No, you can see it in the interviews and stuff.
But you don't know what kind of person he is.
No, but
he could be a good, actual human being.
If he was, then I think his teammates would have rallied around him.
You don't know him from anything. You can't sit there and say that he's a bad person. He's never been in the news for getting arrested.
You're right.
Assault,
You're right. Maybe bad person. Maybe bad person is the wrong. Bad football player. We'll go with.
I mean, does he present himself in a great way? No, but it doesn't mean he's a bad person.
No,
I mean, you have gangbangers that are great human beings.
But it's a prank phone call, too. It's not like somebody came to his house and spray painted his car.
It's a prank phone call about a dream of his. It's not me calling you and saying, oh, is your refrigerator running? You should go catch it. That's a prank.
I have no problem with the prank call. What I have a problem with is the actual prank call itself. Because the actual prank call was lame. And I heard this on the radio today, and I couldn't have agreed more. If that prank call was done by, say, the Jerky Boys in the 90s, shout out to
that's
Don Hahn Rosenberg on ESPN, where I heard this earlier. But I could not agree more that if the Jerky Boys were making that prank call, it would have been funny. The thing was, that phone call wasn't funny. It wasn't like a prank is meant to be a joke. funny. Like, people laugh. Even if the guy in on it isn't laughing, usually the prank is there for a laugh. There is no laugh right now. The prank call itself was boring and lame. Hi, this is Loomis, and we're going to draft you, but later or whatever. Whatever he said, it was lame. It was stupid. And that's where I have a problem with the prank phone call. Make a prank phone call funny. Make it so that it goes viral and everybody enjoys it and everybody can at least get a laugh out of it. Even if the laugh is at Schroeder, even if it's at Sanders' expense.
Wasn't it a college football coach's son or something like that?
No, it was, I think, the Atlanta Falcons, one of their assistant coaches. They had, apparently, it was, they had his phone number on an iPad and they left the iPad unlocked. His son found it. His son's a teenager. Thought it would be funny. Make a prank call. I'm sure that kid learned his
I
lesson.
mean, he
or
wrote a
at
big,
least
he
should've.
wrote a big,
But at the
bullshit
same
apology.
time, if it was funny, I think it would have been taken differently. It wasn't funny. And that's where I have a problem with the prank call. Not that the prank call was made, because again, he is not the first and he won't be the last to get prank called on draft day. We heard about it because he's so high profile and he had dropped so far, but he's not the only person to get prank called. Can guarantee it. And he won't be the last either. So, do I have a problem with the prank call to Sanders? No. Do I have a problem with the actual call because it wasn't funny? Absolutely. That's where I stand. That's the hill I'm dying.
Yeah, I don't think calling to try and pull a prank on somebody who's waiting for their lifelong dream to come true is funny at all. I don't. Even if it was a funny call, I wouldn't have found it funny. I just don't. I mean, you're messing. You're talking about making pranks about people's livelihood and things that they waited their whole life for. Like that'd be somebody calling me about my kid coming and fucking with me. Like I wouldn't. Like I don't give a shit.
That's two different things.
But you're still talking about a lifelong dream. Like it's somebody this young kid has waited his whole life to get to. Now, did he think he deserved it more than others? Yes. Did that hurt him? Yes. But I don't think pranks around people's livelihoods and their dreams are not funny. Like I said, I always love the good prank call. Like, hey, is your fridge running? Oh, you better go catch it. I always thought that was funny. Some of those stupid little dad joke moments. I always thought that was a great dad joke prank. Going after people in that scenario, I don't find amusing at all. Even if it was a good call.
To me, I have no problem with it because it's not like it didn't stop him from getting drafted. It didn't really affect him in any way other than, some people making fun of him online. So, to me, it didn't cause any real harm. So I don't have a problem with it. Like I said, I just think if you're going to do it, you do it to be funny. You do something fun with it. But, that wasn't fun on Sanders' end, and it wasn't fun on our end to listen to. So...
No, I mean, you're not. Thankfully, you're not actually hurting him, right? Like, you're not putting him in a position where he freaks out and goes.
And you're not calling him in the middle of the night. You're not like you're disturbing the kid. Like he was sitting there waiting for a phone call anyway. You called him again. Sanders probably thought it was real because again, you're coming from somebody from the team.
Waiting for the phone call you've waited for your entire life, and have somebody do it as a prank. I just don't think there's anything funny about that.
But that's where me and you differ because I don't think Sanders has been dreaming of this his whole life. I don't think Shorter's been dreaming. I think this has been a dream of his. I want to be as famous as Dad. I think that's his dream. I don't think his dream is to be a great NFL football player and to go down on the Mount Rushmore of quarterback greats. That to me, and again, everything I've seen, everything I've read, every interview I've watched, everything to me, none of that have I ever gotten from him where I feel like he wants to be great. And
I mean,
I don't.
fair.
And so, what am I drafting him for then?
Fair. That is very fair to say. But you know what else is seeming to not be fair is my New Jersey Devils going against the Hurricanes. That does not seem to be fair in any form or fashion, other than the game that I got to be at. And even that was a double overtime thriller. And it's not fair that I have to watch them most likely be eliminated in their season end before I go to bed tonight. And not to take us off the draft stuff, but I really do have to hit the road by 8 o'clock, and we've got 11 minutes till we get there. So I just figured we could try to get this stuff in and not have to try and, scream through all of it. But, well,
I mean, we can go right to the hockey because, you look at it out west. We were talking about it earlier. Out west, it's straight 2-2 series all around. Devils up 2-0 already in the first. So it looks like they could be extending this series, hopefully. I'm interested. And you might know this. The Anderson got hurt last game for Carolina. Is he back?
Goalie. Yeah. I don't know.
Is he back is the question. So let's check the box score and let's see. But listen, we talk about it all the time. Hockey playoffs are tight. These teams, they want it more now than ever. And Markstrom, and then no, he's not playing tonight. So this could be a big opportunity for the Devils to really extend this series and to get back in it. You could be looking at a Game 6 back in New Jersey.
I just texted a man. I'm like, if they win, we're going to Game 6.
There you go. So so that being said, it's as tight as we all thought it would be. Like I said, every game out west is
Well, I think
every series in the East 3-1.
Yeah,
so I mean,
I think for anybody out there listening that really doesn't pay attention to the NHL, the big thing that caught me in Erich's eyes today, and why we wanted to bring up the playoffs, is I don't know if I've ever seen a scenario like this. All 4 series in the Eastern Conference are set right now at 3-1. So, for example, the Carolina Hurricanes are up on the Devils 3-1 in the series. If they win tonight, series is over. They move to the next round. Same thing, right? You've got the Toronto Maple Leafs up 3-1 on the Ottawa Senators. If they win, they move on, right? So all 4 series in the East is 3-1 right now. So all four series could be clinched by the end of the day tomorrow. Where in the West, all 4 series are tied at 2-2. But the craziest one to me out of all of them is the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche. That series is tied 2-2. They've played a total of 240 minutes of hockey, not including any overtime. I can't remember if they went to overtime. But 240 minutes minimum of hockey. The Colorado Avalanche have led for over 200 of those 240 minutes. And yet the series is still tied at 2-2. Like, that's crazy to me. Now, I'm sorry, wait. Oh, Dallas won last night, so now it's 3-2. So, yeah, Dallas won last night to make the series 3-2. But going into this week, sorry, I just thought it was crazy having 4 series at 2-2 and 4 series at 3-1. So I really kind of stayed focused on that, and I may have blinded me and Erich from realizing that Dallas won last night and went up 3-2. But either way, really, really tight. And the playoffs are a war of attrition. So the other point we made, right, was the fact that the best team in the playoffs may be in the Western Conference, but if the East stays kind of heavy, lopsided with all 4 teams maybe winning in 5 games, the East could be the team that comes out just simply due to the increase in rest.
Yeah, they may get more rest time. And it's definitely something to keep an eye on as the playoffs go on, for sure. Because, listen, if the Devils end up extending this series, we could be, that could all be a moot point. Because, like you said, it's 3-2 now in the Dallas, series anyway. So, maybe there's not that much rest difference. But I just think if this trend continues, the East may have a slight edge when it comes to the Stanley Cup Finals just because of that rest factor. But it all depends on how the rest of these playoffs play out. Either way, I mean, I think we all agree the hockey playoffs, top to bottom, are the toughest playoffs to go through.
No doubt about it. No question about it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it with each of these series, doesn't matter if it's the number 1 seed or number 4 seed, doesn't matter who it is. Every team here has a legitimate chance to advance. Every team can do it. Even the Devils, when it looked bleak and they were getting out physical by Carolina, they didn't look as sharp the first couple games. It looked ugly.
Oh yeah,
I think things turned around, and I know they still lost the last game on Sunday. But things did turn around because they were down 3-0. The second Anderson went out, they got 2 goals back. Things started to turn around. So I think without Anderson there for the Hurricanes, you're seeing it with the Devils tonight up 2-0. That might have been a turning tide in the series, and they may actually get out of this first round. I think it really depends. If they can get the momentum from tonight, come back and win in New Jersey in Game 6. If Anderson's out,
anything can happen in a Game 7.
I think really you're looking at it, and it could be.
What hurts the Devils is that they lost 2 of their starting defensemen, so they only had 5 on Sunday and on Friday. So they're really short.
I'll tell you what, the kid Nemitz, he played his tail off on Friday night.
Out of his mind. The best.
And now I think it was only his first or second playoff game ever, too.
And the best was after the game when they were interviewing all the players, like they asked all the, the veteran defensemen, like, how are you feeling? It was a double overtime game. Like, yeah, the Devils scored a little earlier. I think it was like the 17-minute mark, 16-minute mark in the second overtime. So only a couple minutes in. But like, everybody's asking the defenseman, like, how you feeling? And all the veteran guys are like, I am exhausted. This took it out of me. We gave it everything we had. And then they asked Nemitz, who's, like a second-year player, and he's like, I feel good. I'll go play again now. Like,
yeah.
And like, you just like, it's that blatant moment where you're like, oh, what it is
3-0
to be
Devils.
something 20.
As my hat says there, let's
go.
raise some hell.
Let's go, baby. I'm gonna just go home and start waving the towel around that I got on Friday.
There you
I
go.
woke up Saturday with a sore throat. I was shocked I had my voice. That game Friday was nuts. I felt so bad for Amanda. She's sitting there, she's like, because they're up 2-0, and then in a 7-minute time span in the fourth period, they give up 2 goals, and then it's tied 2-2, and you're like, nah, don't do this to me. But intense game, great game. So happy. She told me no to game 6. She said if they make it to the next round, we can go to game 3 for them.
Okay.
So
it's a compromise,
it's actually a fair compromise because those tickets are not cheap and they're only going to get more expensive as the rounds move on. So,
speaking of rounds and moving on, I mean, we talk about how the NHL top to bottom toughest playoffs to go through. I honestly think the NBA. Not the WNBA, the NBA.
The NBA.
But nobody talks more WNBA than we do.
No. Nobody talks more WNBA. As season starts soon, we'll be ready.
But the NBA, they've already got teams through round 1. They're rolling, and I don't even know why they extended it. The added playoff teams are stupid. The play-in is
idiotic.
awful. I mean, honestly, this is so much more top-heavy than hockey is. It's ridiculous. You know you knew the Cavs are gonna win. The Knicks are up 3-1 on the Pistons. I think the Celtics are up 3-1 as well. All these teams, Thunder won 4-0. It's really not much of a series in most of these games.
What I will say though is that the Pistons Knicks games have all been really good games. They've been down to the wire basically every single game. They've been really good games.
Well, Jalen Brunson, Captain Clutch, won the Clutch Player of the Year award. He has proven himself to be the most clutch player in clutch time.
Karl Anthony Towns is the one that got them the first win.
Yeah, but
not the first win. Their second win when the series was tied 1-1.
But that's why you load up on these guys, and that's why you went out and made that trade.
It was such an upgrade over Randall. Such an upgrade over Randall. And there's no doubt about it. But look, I will say this. From what I've watched, for the most part...
Speaking of Randall, though, they're about to beat the Lakers.
Oh, I can't wait for it to happen. But that's what I mean. For the most part, like even in these series where it's 3-1, a lot of these games have been actually really good games. Overall, I have to be honest, this has been one of the better playoffs that I've watched in a long time. Now... yes, we have the 1 seeds in both conferences already moved on. Memphis, they battled with OKC, but Thunder were clearly the better team. But Cleveland, Miami, holy crap. How do you go into an elimination game on your home court and at halftime you're already down 50 and you lose by 55? That is an embarrassment, and I don't even want to know what kind of speech or talk Pat Riley is going to be having with Eric Spoelstra, the other coaches, and the players on those teams, because he's a very hands-on owner, and he's been very good at it for a while. He is not going to accept that, and I'd love to be a fly on the wall so I could just hear it, but I would not want to be one of the people he was talking to. So
that was an embarrassment. I'll agree with you. On an elimination game on your home court, listen, I get that you're down 3-0. I get that you weren't coming back. But you still got to show up.
Oh,
to lose by 55. But that, again, just shows you the disparity in the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs. You don't see a team getting blown out 9-0 in the NHL playoffs.
No.
You don't. You may see a 5-2 game, but I'll guarantee you 1 or 2 of those goals were scored with an empty net with 30 seconds to go. So, to me, some of those inflated scores aren't really inflated. They're a lot closer. This wasn't close from the start.
No, they started the game on a 30-4 run.
This is one where Cleveland should have just advanced. They shouldn't have even had to have played the Heat.
Wave the white flag at
The
half.
Heat should have just been happy to win their 8th place consolation prize and go home.
And knock out my Bulls all over again.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like it's just such a disparity between the two leagues, and like I said, so it's just going to be interesting. Really, the only upset out there happening is the Timberwolves over the Lakers, and
The Warriors over the Rockets.
And the Warriors, but
Because you got to remember,
but the Rockets are so young, and the Warriors are so seasoned. To me, that's almost like they're
that series was tied at 1 apiece, and in Game 3 was when Jimmy Butler went down and has not played. He basically didn't play Game 3, did not play Game 4 at all, and they managed to win both those games, led by Steph Curry playing amazing basketball and Draymond Green being the
But that's
pain in
it.
the
That's
ass
all
that he
they
is.
need.
But
to be honest, that is the Warriors.
This conversation will bring me back to a point that I've been making since probably before we even started doing any type of podcast together. The NBA needs to move to a top 16 team tournament. They need to get rid of the conferences, and they need to do a 16 team tournament. And you do stick with your 7-game series. I'm fine with that, but it needs to be a 16 team tournament. The top 16 teams, whether they're East or West, are who make the playoffs. And you get rid of division game. Like, they want to keep the division rivalries. Rivalries in basketball are not based off a division. The Lakers and Celtics have the longest lasting rivalry in the NBA, and they've literally never played in the same conference. Rivalries are based off of who meets in the finals and who
Knicks Heat years ago.
That's right. Or
Knicks Indiana, Knicks Bulls. Like,
it's not about the divisions in basketball. It's just not. So you go top 1 through 16, do away with the stupid ass play-in tournament. And if you did that this year, only 4 of the 8 teams in the Eastern Conference would have even made the damn playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Only 4 of them.
Well,
they don't belong there.
To be honest, I kind of like the way the NHL does it, where top 3 teams in each of the conferences get in, and then you have the wild cards. Like, and you got to battle for the wild card. Like, after that, like you said, then you're really getting the top teams in the league. You're getting the top 12 because you're getting top 3 from each division. Then you're getting the 4 best after that. And the 4 best by record after that.
And it helps the parity too, because now you're bottom 16. They're now in the draft lottery, right? So maybe that 16th team, all of a sudden, like, they just had a key guy get in. Think of all those years ago when the Spurs ended up getting Tim Duncan because David Robinson blew out his knee at the beginning of the season. So they ended up being a horrible team. Which,
by the way, Wemby, I'm still not as sure as everybody else is on Wemby. I thought they would have had that turned around.
If Duke can stay healthy, he's one of the next biggest stars in the league. No question about it.
But now he's, year 2 in, and he's still like, it's
the second year. The problem is the blood clot thing. Like, he missed the rest of the season, not because he, hurt his ankle or his knee. Like, it's like a legit health condition that, like...
Well, speaking of blood clot thing, how about Damian Lillard having the blood clot thing, comes back, and then blows out his Achilles? I mean,
I think the last you see of Dame Lillard.
A lot of people, and it's sad because I actually used to like Dame.
I love watching Dame play, but a lot of people think that him getting hurt and being out, if the Bucks lose this series, which they're down 4 with 11 to go, if they lose this series, a lot of people think Giannis is going to ask to get out of there too. Which bothers the hell out of me, because then you're just saying, okay, what team is he going to go to help create a super team? And I'm so sick and tired of super teams.
And then it's going to relegate the Bucks back to nothing.
To nothingness. Which, I hate the Bucks. I'm a Bulls fan.
You're a Bulls fan,
so I dislike the Bucks across the board. But I love Giannis. Like, when he won the NBA championship and he went to McDonald's. That was his first dinner the next day was McDonald's, and he tried to order 500 chicken nuggets, and they were like, "Sorry, sir, what?" I like Giannis, and his story and his brother's story, to come from what they came to where they're at now. That's when people talk about the American dream, that is the definition of the American dream, right? All 3 of him and his 2 brothers are on the same team, but they can't play at the same time because they only have 1 pair of sneakers that they have to share between the 3 of them. And now, he's making $50 million a year, and even his brothers are making a couple million a year. I mean, that's just the dream story, and I just love that. But the NBA playoffs games have been good. Series themselves have not been great. Nuggets Clippers is my biggest surprise series, though. I did not expect the Clippers to really hang with the Nuggets the way they have, and I'm really impressed by what they've done. But I do think Denver still comes out of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, and we need to hope for that too, right? Denver versus OKC, your two favorites for the MVP award. You get them playing in the conference semifinals. That'd be pretty badass. But anyway,
conference
shout out to
semifinals.
Fife. Devils up 3-0. Yo,
We've been watching, or we've been following.
Following.
So up 3-0, like we talked about. I think Ryan Anderson being down, big thing for the Devils, and they've been able to capitalize offensively. So yeah, shout out to Fife. And by the way, the one thing I think we can all sit here and agree on tonight, as we wrap up the show here, is
fuck the Eagles.
Yes.
Every
Shout
time.
out to Marissa, who was in our chat. Not sure if she's still in there.
which I
but
can't
Marissa.
stand them because they draft so well, and it
Well,
bothers me. But either way, I love our draft fight. I was talking about that earlier, so that's how I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to wrap it up on positive notes here. Knicks looking to clinch tonight. Devils looking to extend the series tonight. And I'm high on the Giants draft right now. Let's go, Carter. Let's go, Dart in 2026. Sit his ass this year, please. Learn, do all those things. And by the way, if you're doing those things, hit the like button, subscribe, follow, share. Do those things for us.
It's
Because-
free and it's easy.
And it's easy, and it really helps us out. So if you've listened at all tonight, please do those things for us before you head out. But yeah, so I mean, wrapping up, you got any final thoughts? I know you're pumped for the Devils. You're rooting against my Knicks, so I can't root for you there. But are you overall on the
I'm not even rooting against your Knicks simply because I also hate the Pistons too, but also due to the fact that they have no chance to beat Boston in the next round. So like, let them have fun. They literally are 0-13 against, or 0-11 against the best teams in the NBA. Boston is one of those teams.
Yes, but this is the playoffs.
They might win 2 games.
Playoffs different. I think it's going to be a different
Maybe they
series.
push it 6.
We'll wait till next week to talk about that because I'm sure both teams will be at that point next week. But yeah, I just got one more question to ask you because I mean I gave you my opinion on the Giants draft. Overall, Cowboys draft, love it, hate it, meh. Like, what are you feeling as far as now you're post-draft? Are you more excited for the season post-draft?
No. Not more excited, but also not like sitting here disappointed. I think they addressed a couple needs. I don't know.
I'm excited.
I
I wish you had the excitement I had.
I don't know enough about the college players that they took to sit here and judge them. And not to mention, we won't know what any player that was taken in this draft really is going to be until their third year. Yes,
I know Abdul Carter's going to be a beast.
Say there are some exceptions.
He's going to be a beast.
Like he will have an impact from day one in the league. There's no question.
Can't wait. Although I will tell you, and the one thing we didn't touch on, I don't know if Fife's still in the chat, but shout out to Fife if he is. The one thing I didn't appreciate is you don't go and ask for LT's number.
I mean,
No.
you're shooting for the stars, right?
No, that to me, I mean, you're talking about a guy on the Mount Rushmore of football.
he didn't
A
do
guy
it
in the
disrespectfully,
conversation
though.
of greatest of all time players,
didn't do
not
it
even just defensively. One of only 2 players ever to defensively win MVP. Like, it doesn't happen. He is a different breed, LT. Now, I get it that Carter's special, but I just think coming in and asking for 56, I know Neighbors did it last year, asked for a retired guy's number, but that guy was 100 and retired in the 50s or something, so made a little bit more sense for the family to agree to that. LT's still here with us. LT's still a badass.
Yeah, if I said LT number, off limits.
LT is still a badass. And I'm sorry, Carter, you got to make your own number. I don't care what number it is, pick it. I'll buy your jersey, but it can't be 56. Be 65. Be 00.
Be like Micah. Take it number 11. Just keep following the path.
Do that. I'm fine with it. I'll get the jersey, but don't make it 56. So that's the hill I'm going to die on. Is I'm glad that LT stood up and said that, because to me, if LT had, I'm glad, because this is the LT I know. LT was not going to agree to this, and yeah, that being said, though, I'm pumped about the draft. I'm pumped about the Knicks, and I'm pumped about the Devils because I think the Devils could really get back into this series with a win tonight. So all that said, let's go watch some sports. Let's go have some fun. So Dave, where can people find you till next week?
You can find me on my couch watching the Devils game when I get home. But social media wise, D Hastings 23 on Instagram and David Hastings 23 on Twitter, now known as X. What? Come on, let's get you in camera.
You can follow Louie at Louie Aussie Dude on Instagram. You can follow Joey, who's not here with us, but we hope he joins us at some point in the future. You can find him at JoeyDoth47 on Instagram. You can find me at The Living Legend on X. You can also follow us on Facebook and on Facebook and YouTube at Die on This Hill.
Like, subscribe, follow, share.
Do all those free fun things for us.
They're free. They're fun. Do them.
And until next week, don't be afraid to watch some playoffs. Get excited about your team's NFL draft.
Form an opinion.
And Die on This Hill with us. Boom!
Let's go.